A raindrop is a powerful thing, and the most important force on Namibia's landscapes. For months it is completely dry, not a single drop falls. It looks like nothing will ever grow again. And then it rains. Raindrops can be beneficial and productive, the creator of life. Become a raging torrent of destruction, a liquid knife cutting deep incisions into the soft earth. Rain is the bringer of change, but it can also be the destroyer of entire landscapes. If we cannot manage the landscapes upon which these raindrops fall, water cannot saturate the ground. If this land is not made rainfall ready, the rain that does fall hits barren ground and rushes away, carrying with it the fertile topsoil, a precious commodity in a desert land where it takes millennia to form, leaving behind nothing but a broken, parched landscape, where nothing can grow except invading thorny bushes. By understanding how water acts on the land, our Namibian farmers are readjusting and refocusing their relationship with raindrops to maximize their benefit. These farmers are part of a project looking at landscape literacy, understanding how raindrops work, and understanding how water shapes the land. How do we prevent these gullies from forming? What do we do to stop these thorny bushes from taking over? How do we improve and create healthy grasslands for the benefit of our cattle, our crops, our wildlife, and our farming way of life? What is the best way to work with nature's most powerful force to improve our farming? How do we keep raindrops where they fall? We celebrate when it rains, and then we are devastated when these same raindrops cause massive amounts of damage. These farmers are understanding and using the enormous potential of raindrops. They are learning how to change their own lives for the better. They are understanding how to manage raindrops and change the future of these landscapes.
This is a sweet landscape for the community. So good soil, sweet land, and it's one of the few areas where you can find perennial grasses that are still green even though it's a dry season area.
Ndono mia ekura mapurwezi ngurumwe ahiti purwezi rumwe okahudhu kumake hapa pono umutimbulipo aunyo mokahakahana oje nantengu chondona kyasanango
Mbona nchi yanji onyingi okia nyona okutwala aitwala maso kutwala okwa katwalo miliba okucha jikuna jika rupale uli
Poyanjo kororowa ombura okuroko tip ndalire mwangombe kida kimino manombuda mumu kambwini inyona ide podongombe ndo ide podongombo kokuta
kudandi ngamba kota ngaji mitegimba ina mbejire ko pino pimba hupa mo ina munyo ogo jo ina ndengu jinene ngamamba bu.
Many of these problems are from continuous grazing. Badly located waters, continuous grazing. What other outcome is there than dongas?
The problem is you have torrential rains. There's always washaways on the road, and you have to rebuild the road. The soil gets less and less, it's more rocky, coming out outcrops.
Quadpipe makes quite a lot of erosion.
Ukulumbora etu yali pahali morora yalino mionjo mbonja lino mia na bimwano warwe chipeko ka omilolo ombwina na imbu mutungula mbu chiwe utukuli omilolo mikoto onjo mbu utukupira
naiko kujo kungula ngai nombo chitungana nepeni kuyandera mbete putuli ona hepero kungula mbu ya uhengama pupeno milola ondo jina hepero jinene.
This is the last pen that is left in this area, and most of the other pens have been stolen by the gullies, and it looks like the land is just bleeding.
This film is about the fate of raindrops. Do raindrops land on bare soil and erode it, aggravating existing landscape incisions? Or do these raindrops soak into the soil where they fall, growing plants that support a rich web of natural life? All around the world, arid grasslands are changing. Raindrops no longer provide the positive impacts they once did, and in many cases are now accelerating degradation and producing cascading gully development. The cause of these broken landscapes is the cutting up of the land. The accelerator pedal is poor grazing management and reduced ground cover. We are going to visit farmers and scientists across Namibia to learn how gullies are formed and what we can do to stop them.
What happened here is that it's a bad management. There is no management. First, all the grasses has been grazed off. This is the dead soil. No grass will grow here because this is very hard kept soil, and even when I hit this stone, it's like hitting another rock. It's a parking area in town where water just come in and washed off. This area, it's not the only area that looks like this. It is the whole area here. Because of the bad management, it happened that the water washed off this topsoil here. And that makes that all the water that is coming here are being washed, and even the topsoil that were here are being washed off into this gully. Nothing will grow here because it's so kept like a concrete, because all the good topsoil have been washed away. How can a seed germinate on a concrete-like hard topsoil? Cattle are using this path every day to the water point. They move single file, one after the other, from water point to grazing area, from grazing area to water point. Look at the hoof prints. They hammer the soil day and night, and it's so easy to be pulverized. Look how soft or easy it is. Once water comes here, it will be very easily washed away. Maybe 40 centimeters has been dug out. The soil has been washed away. If we don't do anything here, this will all become a big gully and nothing will grow up here. This was a nice sweet land, and with the water comes in here very softly down to here, and suddenly when it comes here it picks up the speed and it will wash off this soil and eat up this topsoil, and as it takes the topsoil with it and it eats back into this nice sweet land with perennial grasses on top, they will also be washed away, and we can't see any perennial grasses anymore here in the future.
What is happening with the water flow to create such deep gullies known as dongas that can eat up entire valleys? It all starts with a nick point, a place in the landscape where there is a small drop in ground level. A nick point can often be formed when a vehicle track or animal path incises into the landscape. Water only needs a little drop in base height, and as water flows over the rim of this nick point, the water accelerates. This acceleration acts as a strong physical pulling force to surface water above, creating a channel that becomes turbulent flow as it spills over. As this angry water hits the plunge hole, It eats downwards and sideways, washing away soil, exposing plant roots, and washing away vegetation. This cavitation causes the nick point to retreat back uphill, and a gully is formed. What starts as a small nick point, in one season erodes backwards, and grows into a deep destructive gully that eventually can eat up the entire landscape. Gullies in size split and cut back, stealing water from the rest of the landscape. Yes, gullies erode soil, but far more devastating is the dehydrating impact on surrounding soils and land. The heads of dongas literally suck landscapes dry, unplugging fertile flatlands by incision. It's like pulling the plug out of the bath. The land gets starved of water, slowly dries out and dies.
This area is about 20 years of erosion. With time it gets eroded and this area has become bigger and bigger and bigger. With years, I think it will be going for kilometers and kilometers in the northern direction.
As we have seen, water-loving grasslands are ecologically and commercially the most critical landscapes in Namibia. This is why, bang for buck, we should go for fixing wetland grassland systems as they are the most valuable. How do we return things to how they used to be and prepare these soils so they are ready to receive rainfall? Local is lekker, and we prefer simple, locally available solutions. We have seen that when cattle are left to roam freely, they tend to walk in single file, cutting up the land, creating nick points, and causing erosion. These cattle farmers, though, are using their herd as a mechanical solution, physically herding their cattle to break up the soil and work the landscape. This is one of the best ways to treat grasslands, where cattle become part of the solution rather than the cause of the problems in the first place. Creative kraling is healing these gullies and at the same time fertilizing soils in the kraal and downslope with its nutrient runoff. We are turning problems into positive outcomes.
So we came up with the idea of building a kraal so that we put in cattle overnight. We put in a big number so that they can squash. So when they start pushing each other, then they can break the edge of the gully head. It's further smoothened, and there's now fertilization. You can see lots of cow dung. You can see there's dung beetles, which put the dungs in the soil and also decompose the dungs so that this place is being fertilized. You can see that there's lots of trampling. You can also see other different insects which help to fertilize the soil. And the grasses now will establish well, especially the perennial grasses, because it's now more fertile, the urine. And the infiltration, you can see the hoofs of the cattle have broken most of the parts. So when we receive the rain, there will be more infiltration, and then there will be more establishment of perennial grasses.
Cattle creates living soil. In such a vast landscape, this may seem like a small offering from the heavens, but it is happening all across these grasslands all the time. And because this soil is now rainfall ready, this free fertilizer is not going to be washed away in the next storm. Raindrops will infiltrate where they land, adding rich nutrients and moisture to this small piece of farmland. But when you multiply this by 1,000, this is a big contribution to this farm every single day. Even though these landscapes are continually changing, once you have a level of landscape literacy, You can see how water behaves on landscapes and plan in line with its natural dynamics. One common problem is erosion caused by farm roads, where tire tracks can quickly turn into deep gullies. Here in the Aus Oanab Conservancy, 30 kilometers south of the capital, farmers are sharing experiences and ideas how best to site farm roads. They are doing training and remedying a problem at the same time. Woa buoys are strategic speed bumps. They divert the channeled water flow created by vehicle tires cutting into the road. They help the spreading and slowing down of water. Gullies formed by vehicle tracks can be treated this way. But if they are put in when the road is first sited, they can stop these gullies forming in the first place, because prevention is always better than cure.
So the water came out at the water bowl and then it spilled in the natural flow. This is wonderful. So it's working.
Here, they are blocking the heads of gullies to stop them cutting back. Adding smaller branches from bush encroached species within gullies below ground level, and placing bigger branches up and over the edges of gullies. This reduces the speed of water, trapping vegetation, soils and seeds in the tangle of branches and allowing more water to infiltrate. Some bushes are tied to hanging wire to stop them being washed away, and allowing water to percolate through, acting like a kraal in a riverbed. The result of gully filters gives an indication of what this valley was like before nick points and gullies had formed. The deposition of sediments in the gully encourages perennial grasses to grow and holds the soil in place.
Kumbunda ajitwala no kuungulu miroro kuungulu ino mirora njumbo yetu yitwe muno kukanumia njumbo yetu njiyene no kupomba muhokane ku starta lukulu muhokane hi mapeta na hatu misa yeulisa.
Fruitful landscapes are useful for harvesting rainfall and enhancing water distribution across a landscape. At the Katatura Youth Centre in Windhoek, students are transforming a problem into a profit. They decided to create a fruitful landscape thanks to the shape of the land and following contours to reduce runoff and improve water management. Contour ditches are designed to carry water to all corners of this valley. At Farm Middelplaats near Otjiwarongo, they are using a similar method to harvest rainwater and capture runoff. This is a mechanized solution for a commercial farmer who is using cutting-edge, innovative ideas to rehydrate his landscape. The ditches he is creating here along gradients stimulates grass cover over bushes and enables the planting of indigenous trees to create a more productive and fruitful landscape on the farm. All these techniques and methods are trying to do the same thing. We are working with nature to slow down the flow of water, to spread the flow of water across the landscape as widely as possible. We want raindrops to saturate the soil where they fall, so we are preparing our grasslands to enable raindrops and surface water to infiltrate, to help grow our perennial grasses, to feed our livestock, that ultimately take care of us and the web of life on which we depend.